Most of us are used to driving on the interstates and hardly give it a second thought, but we should. Some of the nation's worst criminals, including serial killers, prowl those busy highways. Tonight, News 13's Kim Holland is on special assignment to report on the danger and a new weapon to fight it.
She was somebody's daughter, most likely murdered and dumped in the harsh New Mexico desert. She still had a ribbon on her from a county fair in Missouri, and she wore handmade jewelry. Her bloody body buried in a shallow grave. Two men on horseback stumbled upon the body here in 1999 just outside of Grants. The case had grown cold, so 10 years later in 2009, the FBI headed back out to the woman's gravesite.
Her body has never been identified, so we never found a wallet or any ID.
The interstate roadway system connects cities, towns, and communities across the country, allowing anyone with a vehicle to move quickly, easily, and anonymously. Because the New Mexico Jane Doe was found near Interstate 40, the FBI wondered if she could have been murdered by a serial killer.
We look at any connection to the highway.
Just this year, the FBI utilized a new tool to try to crack the New Mexico case. They entered it into a program the agency created in 2004. All the cases in the database have one thing in common. The victim or suspect had some link to the interstate. Local law enforcement officers are able to submit violent crime cases involving rape, murder, found human remains, and suspicious kidnappings to the FBI. The FBI then decides if the case should be included in the database. This map shows the more than 500 cases that are in the serial killing database. The FBI and officers across the country can search the system to see if any of the cases can be connected and traced back to a serial killer.
Oftentimes, interstates allow for a crime of opportunity for killers who target drug users, prostitutes, and hitchhikers. Investigators, for example, will look for a link to a transient or a truck driver. Follow an interstate and you may find a death here, more victims down the road, and a killer at the end of the line.
That's exactly what spurred the FBI's Highway Serial Killings database in 2004. Investigators noticed patterns in up to 200 unsolved cases. Numerous prostitutes working truck stops had been killed and dumped mostly along I-40 from Oklahoma all the way to the East Coast. The feds, along with local agencies, linked a bunch of the cases and arrested long-haul trucker John Williams and his girlfriend at the time, Rachel Cumberland, for about 20 of the murders. The FBI then realized cases not obviously related might be. So it created the Highway Serial Killings database and opened it up to police and sheriff's departments across the country.
So every law enforcement agency now can look into the database, put their cases in there, modify their cases, and do their own searches.
And the system works. Agencies across the country, with the help of the FBI, have identified about 200 suspects in nearly 600 unsolved cases since the database began. Detectives in New Mexico have solved 2 of 4 cases in the database, although it doesn't appear they're connected to a serial killer yet. But they're still looking for the killer of New Mexico's Jane Doe. Investigators hope the Highway Serial Killers Initiative will help crack the case and bring a daughter back home to her family. Kim Holland, KRQE News 13.
Now, if you would like to see the Highway Serial Killers Initiative map or check out the specific items found on Jane Doe's body, go to our website at krqe.com.